Welcome. Today we are doing a movie review on Lilo and Stitch, the live action version. I want to say live action version because this one is a movie in itself from the animated version. The animated version is its own thing. This one is the live action version. Just in the same way that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is different from the Marvel comics. They're similar, they show similar storylines and sometimes the way they tell those stories, but they are different in how the stories are told. Most of the time, or sometimes, you get the same message across or the same storyline across, but told in a different way. And that's the case with this movie, Lilo and Stitch. They kept some of the same beats from the Lilo and Stitch anime. And by the way, this is a spoiler review, right? They take the story beats, some of them from the animated movie, and they put them in the live action. Then they have very decisive decisions on going different directions with the live action versus the animated one. Excuse me. So now let's get into it, right? So Lilo and Stitch is about a family, just like the Fast and Furious franchises. Fast and Diesel is about family. So you have Lilo, Nani, David, and then you have other characters as well. And then of course you have Stitch. Lilo and Stitch are main characters. Nani is the main character as well. Really, they make Lilo and Stitch the main characters. Then the side characters, they play an important role in this movie as well, being family. But Lilo and Stitch are the primary protagonists in this movie. And the antagonist is the Dr. Jimba, or the evil scientist Jimba. The decision to make him the only and sole villain in this movie, that is where, if you're comparing the animation to the live action, you may not like it. However, if you're just taking this movie by itself, it can work. It sets the next few movies. So where, like in the Marvel movies, they may not go bit for like the origin story of like other characters. For example, Spider-Man. For Spider-Man to get his phrase, "with great power comes great responsibility," it took him 3 movies. So his origin story was told over 3 movies. Whereas previous Spider-Man iterations and in the comics, they took 1 comic book or it took 1 movie to tell Spider-Man's origin story, where he actually embodies Spider-Man in his true fashion. Whereas great power comes with great responsibility, where in those 3 movies, or Homecoming, No Way Home, or Far From Home, you see Spider-Man acting more like reckless and irresponsible and more like an immature kid, which he is in those movies, which is fine. That's how they chose to tell the story. And it's not only until he goes through a lot of things in the 3rd movie, No Way Home, and then he has the last final few words from his Aunt May, in which he also had help from the other Peter Parker mentors, the other variants, to help him mature or help him grow into what Spider-Man is, someone who uses his gifts, his talents to bless other people or to help serve other people, right? So that's like, I feel like that's where that's the direction they're going with the Lilo and Stitch movie, where instead of mirroring closer to the animation movie, they're trying to tell their own story and create their own sort of universe or sense or franchise, to where, okay, they left off with Lilo and Stitch, they can do like a live action TV show like they did with the animation. They went to a live action animation. They still had sequel movies and things like that. So I have no idea. I may do further research. I may not do further research on that. I did go back and watch the first episode of Lilo and Stitch is on YouTube, and so I did that because it's been so long since I actually seen the animation show. That was like years ago. It was like probably 10+ years ago when I was watching the animation show when it was like on and like airing new shows and things like that, right? So this if you ask my wife, it's a cute movie, and it is a cute movie and things like that. It's a fun, enjoyable movie. It's definitely a movie you can take your kids to go see. And just reviewing this movie just by the movie by itself, it's a good movie. It's a good family movie. Go take your families to go see this movie. It's a good rewatchable like movie as well. It's something you can just want to have on in the background, sort of say. The story, they make the story more about the sisters and the family in their own way versus the animation. And I will have to go back and rewatch the animated movie, but for the live action, they decide to have Nani go off to college at the end of the movie and have her come back during the credit scenes. And then before that is the Child Protective Service coming and like, they're gonna be taken away and different things like that. Lilo's gonna be taken away. It's real life, like real stuff. And so I guess the live action version is like the same idea of the live action One Piece, which is really good, of like what would like One Piece universe look like in real life, or closest thing to real life that we can get to. And I can see, and I guess that's where they were going with this movie right here. And just like the previous review I did, I watched this movie twice. I will make an effort or try to watch all the movies twice before doing the review on it, just to let my thoughts simmer and to like get to bring it all together and things like that, and to really think about and ponder did I like the movie, did I not like the movie, how good was it, and different things like that, right? So the movie's definitely you can go watch it, you'll enjoy it. I would say don't be too like critical about the movie. It does give you a lot of reasons in the movie. And then there's like sometimes like in the very beginning, it doesn't like tell you why that Stitch was captured and things like that. And again, I'm separating this from the live action and animated version. Probably neither one gave the reason why, but it just opens up with Stitch and Jimba or Jinbe, whichever one you say it, already captured. But they don't explain why they're captured. They don't explain what they did. It's just like, oh, he created 626 or Stitch, and that was a crime, I suggest. But Jinbei was like, I just created him for evil, right? Or Jinba, my bad, Jinba. I'm thinking Jinbei, and I'm like thinking of One Piece. Jinba. So he just created Stitch for evil, and Stitch does like the same thing he does in the animated version that he does in the beginning of this live action one, which is cool. Notably, they left out some characters that will show up in the animated series, and that are not here in the live action. They chose to do different things like that. So again, with this movie, it's a fun movie. You can go see it, enjoy it. It's a cute movie. The story is a decent story. It's a real it's like a real life situation, like when you lose your parents and things like that, or you lose your guardians, and you're placed with the responsibility of watching after the rest of the family at a young age. How do you handle that? And then watching after your younger sibling, where they're growing, they're only 6, and they're just as chaotic throughout the day and things like that without the parents around anymore. And then you get a dog, or in this case Stitch, an alien, and the chaos goes up, 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 up. But you see Lilo slowly start to like mature as she gets Stitch and help him become better as well, which is like those parts of the movies I really enjoy and I really like. When they really like pull the trigger on like, oh, Nani is leaving. And so that became different from the animation. And the reason in the beginning of this video I say that they are going a different direction, they're probably trying to do more movies with this, or possibly even TV shows. I haven't seen any of the news or any of the behind the scenes behind it. I haven't watched any other reviews about it, only seen thumbnails. So I don't know if it's actually doing it, but it's just like my hunch is they have Nani and David super young, but in the animation show they look like they're like in their like mid-20s to like late 20s, where it's just fun. But in this, they make the characters young and they are going to make a more realistic version. And I guess in live action or in real life, that would be a more of a actual like scenario and actual situation versus the animation. Now, I've done what I can to just review this movie based on just the movie by itself. But then there's another part of this review where you can go and compare the movies together, and I've been doing that throughout this video as well. Would you want the animation and the live action to both be the same or mirror each other and things like that? I don't think so. I think they can be their own separate thing and be connected, or to be like referenced into each other. They become its own media, or his own way to tell a story. You have the animation way, and you have the live action way. You can tell two different stories and come to the same message at the end of the day, right? Now, whether it's like paying homage enough to the animated version, that could be up to debate. Leaving out a lot of characters. Well, not a lot of characters, but just a main few characters that become prominent in the animated series is like a big decisive move. And then on top of that, making Jinbei the villain for this movie is another decisive move, where in the animation he gets reformed and things like that, which is where I'm assuming they're saving that for the next movie or something like that. And then as well as not even... They don't, and maybe there's a post-credit scene that I didn't see. I didn't stick around for. I try not to stick around for post-credit scenes anymore, because I like to be going to movies surprised and just going in with my own thoughts. Even if I watch a review, I still can go in and have my own thought about the movie, because I try to like see if it's like objectively true or fair assessments and things like that. So they don't really give you any like setup for a sequel or for a television show in the live action movie at all. And the reason I say that, because and it's been such a long time since I've seen an animated movie, but in the animated movie, you actually, I believe you get to set up that there's other experiments out there. Now, just objectively speaking, in the beginning when Jimbo says, this is 626, that alludes to that there's more experiments out there, possibly. But that doesn't mean like, oh, there's more experiment out there. That could mean like, oh, he fell 665 times and 626 is the one that he like, boom, it was a huge success, so none of the other ones exist. But in the animation, we see that's not true. Other ones do exist. And 66 is the upgrade or improvement from all the other ones. And then 626 is not even the only one that's like the best version, or that's the ideal version, or I don't know what word to use. Because 626 is like, okay, all the other trials before that, they were not as good as 626. He's a success. So he was a success version 1. Then there's like 2 or 3 other versions of 626 that's like are considerably a success. There's a video on YouTube where it goes over all of the experiments that's like shown um in the animation series. Now, what could be cool is with the live action version that they go over all the ones that's not shown in the animation versions. So what I mean, they go over all the experiments that are not shown in the animation version, because there's a good handful of them that are still not shown in the animation. So they have opportunity to like actually go and make new material with the source material. Like they have opportunity to do that, but they did not set that up in the live action movie. And that's like bizarre. And they kind of leave it off on a note or like a family friendly note, which is a good note where you have like your neighbors and your aloha or your I think what's the Hawaiian phrase or phrase that they use, ohana. Yeah, your ohana means family. No one gets left behind. And your neighbors is your ohana. Like it says in the Bible, Jesus says the greatest commandment: love the neighbor, love the brother and sister. So like they're helping out and things like that. The Good Samaritan. And that's all excellent. I love all of that. It's just a matter of like to the source material when you're comparing these movies or when you're trying to see where the franchise is going, and they told a good story, or a decent story, I should say, where like my wife, she went out and bought a lot of like Stitch apparel and things like that. She's 25. And so imagine all you younger kids are buying more Lilo and Stitch apparel and things like that, but then they drop the ball on like leading into more sequels or live action series of seeing other animated or other live action experiments and things like that. So it's like they just kind of cut half of his source material and only use a minute bit of it. And it seemed like in the movie that they were going, this is kind of expensive to show Pleakley and Jimba on screen in their alien form all the time. Because you'll see like, oh, this CGI must be expensive. But you can see Stitch is very vibrant, very colorful, just like how they did Sonic the Hedgehog and things like that. 2 different movie franchises or businesses or brands, but you get the point, right? So yeah, I give this movie a good home rental. You can stream it. You can definitely stream it. No pictures required. Family pictures, yeah, family pictures. So no like date night pictures or anything like that. Family pictures for this movie. You can go to the little picture booth in the theater and sit there, try to squeeze the whole family in, or go to the Lilo and Stitch poster and get a picture with the kids and the wife and the husband and all that. So thank you for watching. God bless, praise God, all the glory to God.